So there's going to be a bunch of stuff going on down here, whatever. We're going to pretty much focus on this aspect of the map the entire game. We already see Ethereal Angel up here. Hydra's on the rotation. Notice he's using Misha to check the bushes. This is one of the things that makes Misha such a ridiculously strong solo laner. Her leash range is so long that she can go through the dangerous path and you can go through the safe path. And you're just like, well, I'm fine. It's really, really, really hard to gank a good Rexxar player ever because he can always rotate safely, but he can always have the warding of essentially a tank. And you're not going to kill the Misha in most cases because she runs away at mount speed if Rexxar calls her back with his trait. So here's how this matchup works. Leoric clears the lane and drains Misha. If Leoric is always hitting his W onto Misha, that's giving him enough sustain that Rexxar cannot force the Leoric out of lane. But if Misha's not there, then Leoric has a hard time zoning and clearing the wave correctly. So in terms of strict laning, even with Bird of Prey picked up a level 1 to give almost instant wave clear, this is a lane that Leoric just dumpsters. It's not even close. And when he can, block does absolutely nothing because the double attack, right? You have attacks from Misha and attacks from Rexxar, so there's no point taking block in this lane. You go Hopelessness. If Rexxar is ever in a position where he's too far forward, you can usually get the drain value directly onto Rexxar, and Rexxar can heal Misha as long as his mana holds out. But he can never heal himself, right? Misha can pick up the globe for him. He has tap, which you can see was burned relatively earlier. This is actually a really common question. When do you burn your tap? If you're on a laning map, like Tomb of the Spider Queen, or Dragonshire, or Braxis, you actually want to burn your tap as early as possible. As soon as you'll get full value out of your tap, because it allows you to continue to maintain pressure. If you're on an objective-based map, where you're fighting over an objective like Infernal Shrines or Cursed Hollow, you want to always save your tap for the objective, because you can always come to the fight full from backing, go to the fight, and then do some damage, maybe get chunked, whatever, trade some cooldowns, back up, you're low, you go tap, and then you come back into the fight. But on Dragonshire, Tomb of the Spider Queen, Braxis, those kinds of maps, you want to burn your tap as early as possible, which is what we can see Hydra is doing right here. He doesn't need it for his health, but he does need it for his mana. And look at how precise that is. He knows that he's going to get almost, but not quite, full mana. Can you link YouTube? It's youtube.com/c/Cavalier Guest. I think there's a link in chat. There might be a YouTube command. If one of the mods wants to do that, I'd appreciate it. So now we have the objective. Dragonshire is, this split objective. Top and bottom shrines both have to be captured, and then mid has to be channeled. And here's where Rexxar starts to be really annoying to deal with, because Misha can just sit on the point for forever, basically. A little bit of a mistake here, in my opinion, by Hydra coming up, in terms of just contesting the objective as aggressively as possible. You can see Nick's actually rotating up to clear the wave, so Leoric can continue to stand on the point. There's no way for Leoric at this point to keep the wave push to get all the experience and hold the point 100% of the time. He cannot do it. You cannot be in two places at once as Leoric. You can do it and Rexxar and Vikings are the only two solo laners that can achieve this dynamic. Solo lane Vikings on Dragonshire is really fun as well. And you can see the pressure, Ethereal Angel is now starting to try and place it on Rexxar. Rexxar has to be standing right about here, right outside his towers, to have Misha on the point. There's a leash range. If he's all the way inside his gates and he's totally safe, he cannot have Misha on the point, which means as long as Rexxar is here, he's vulnerable to getting drained. And now Ethereal Angel is trying to put the pressure, when he can, directly onto Rexxar. He should have been doing this earlier. There were many opportunities where he could have gotten a significant amount of value, but he was playing it very, very safe, and now that he has Field Team to Death picked up at 4. And here's where I feel like the mistake happens for Hydra. He takes Animal Husbandry. If you take Animal Husbandry and you don't die, your late game is going to be really, really effective, but Animal Husbandry is terrible against percent-based damage dealers. Like, absolutely awful. Leoric does the majority of his damage from his W, which is percent-based. Tychus is on the other team. It's going to prevent you from getting bursted out by Chromie, but that's it. You don't take this in this matchup. Hungry Bear at level 4, Misha heals for 3.9%. It says 4%, it's actually 3.9% of her health per auto attack. And she attacks, you know, once a second, I believe. Drain Hope is 4 seconds and drains 25%. So the way that works out is you only have to cast your heal less often, but Misha can stay on the point almost forever once you pick up Hungry Bear against almost anyone. Oh, that's right. That is. It's 4.5% now. They buffed it. You are correct. Good call, Bossamasti. So she can just sit on the point. Right? Rexxar can stand here. He can clear the wave. If you try and freeze the lane, then that becomes a little bit of a problem. And I think Ethereal Angel should have been freezing the lane more. They're just trying to pressure in and try and get this ammo as low as possible. That's the call they make. But if you're just focused on trying to kill the Rexxar and winning the point, you can be in a situation where if you freeze the lane over here, then Rexxar has to overextend, and it's more likely he gets ganked. And these constant rotations from the Muradin and the Tychus are much more likely to make some sort of, you know, actual value happen. Ethereal Angel is, you know, getting a little bit low in mana. I believe he still has his tap available. Can't really. Blizzard default UI, can't really. Yeah, he still has his tap available. Has not even been forced to tap yet. So he's just playing this matchup incredibly slowly. And really all he's focused on is tying the lane and having the point for as often as he can. But Hydra could have set up a situation, if he'd just taken a different talent, where Ethereal Angel would have either had to miss soak or give up the point for an extended period of time. You can see it's starting to happen already, even with these talent choices. Where Leoric has the wave pushed in, Hydra's just playing extremely safe, doesn't want to get drained, has the mobility, and Ethereal Angel going for the drain onto Hydra. We'll get some free damage there. We do see the rotation from ETC here, but it's not going to matter. Wraith walk away. Leoric is almost ungankable as a solo laner because of his high health pool, because of his W, and because of Wraith walk. And Power is going to leave. And it's kind of a silly lane, right? If you're just talking about the laning dynamic, then Leoric drains either Misha or Rexxar, whichever one he can get to. Never dies, because he always has that sustain. Has enough wave clear that the wave itself can't be used to pressure him directly, even if you do take Bird of Prey at 1. And he just tries to land his W on Rexxar, and eventually he will, you know, push in the lane because his wave clear is slightly better, and his pressure is extremely real. So this is a matchup. If you're just talking about the lane, Leoric should win, just because of the potential kill pressure, whereas Rexxar can never kill Leoric. But if you're talking about point control, there's a lot of things that Rexxar can do to make Leoric's life really rough. Yeah, letting himself get clipped by the Q there was a huge mistake. Anytime you get clipped by Leoric's Q, he's going to immediately W. And at that point, you're going to give him some value. It's unavoidable. There's nothing you can do about it. The best defense against Leoric's Q is not to just ever be in range of it. And you don't have to be. He's, you know, not a ranged hero. You are. Ghastly Reach was taken to increase the range of the Skeletal Swing. It's a big consideration. This will help you against ranged heroes in the solo lane as Leoric. And you can, if you position perfectly, you can always hit the wave regardless. But with Ghastly Reach, you sometimes can position more safely and still hit the entire wave, which is sometimes a consideration. So you can see these small talent decisions that sort of make or break the lane. And again, we're having the situation. They need another body up here to take both point, to take the point and soak the lane. So the point's been taken. Bad Benny's going to rotate away. The clear is going to happen. You see Ethereal Angel was trying to get the wave and Hydra in that one queue. A little bit greedy there. And because of the rotations, even with non-optimal talent choices on the Rexxar's part, this lane has remained basically even, slightly favored for the Orc. But imagine a situation where the 4-man down here had actually been putting enough pressure on the other 4-man that no one could rotate top. What would the lane look like if Misha could have just been like sitting on the point 100% of the time, and Rexxar could have thrown his Q out to clear the wave and then backed up, and there was no possibility ever of forcing Misha off the point. It was a choice of miss soak or not have the objective. Like, that was the choice you could have set up. So this is a really subtle point in many ways. If your 4-man's not doing well, or if your Foreman is doing well, then your Soul Lane should be easier because they should be able to rotate someone up to help fix whatever the problem with the matchup is. Whether it's you don't have enough sustain, or you don't have enough wave clear, you don't have enough damage to actually threaten a kill, or you just literally need a whole extra body. But if your Foreman's not doing well, then the other team's going to be doing that to you, and you need to make sure you're winning that matchup. So the smallest of margins in your soul winning matchups can actually matter quite a bit. This one's pretty much over at this point, because I think it's coming up here. Expert actually picks up a Dragon Knight. Should they lose Chromie Muradin? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking of later on in the game. But at this point, you know, Leoric's getting the wall. And now that the wall and the well are gone, there's just no way at this point for Hydra to be safe. Hydra needs this gate. He actually needs this gate 100% in order to be safe. So this is a situation, we've had it in a lot of our matchups, where Leoric wins the lane, and Rexxar should win the point. Very similar to our Leoric-Sonya matchup, except for in that case, Sonya wins the lane, Leoric wins the point. In this case, Leoric loses the point but wins the lane. Now, it could have been closer. It could have been closer than it was with a different level 4 talent. Animal Husbandry is a really great late game talent in many ways. I don't think it's a good choice against Leoric ever. And certainly against Tychus plus Leoric, like, how likely is it that you're going to